Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication.
Hello, welcome to Mercy TV Live, your source for news and information on the medical cannabis issue as it unfolds here in Oregon, across America, and around the world. Greetings, my name is Perry, and along with Sunny, we'll be hosting this segment of Mercy TV Live. Hey, Sunny.
Hey, Perry, tonight, if you're not a patient, if you're not having issues with your conditions that you're seeing the doctor for and you're taking pills and all kinds of medications for, this is not important unless you know somebody that is. You guys, cannabis is an alternative medicine that today everybody is starting to accept, and that's what's important. And we have a lot of news. I mean, you guys have been at the Capitol all week.
Yeah, we had to revise the whole cannabis as medicine issue just to get a PTSD added to the list of qualifying conditions with the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program. PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's been a tough fight, but it passed the Oregon State Senate by a 19-11 vote here this past week. It now goes to the House, where it'll go through committee, and then hopefully to the floor for a vote. But we need everybody who wants to see that happen to contact their representative, to stay tuned, to possibly testify at the hearings that they're going to be having. That's the important thing. It's very difficult for the folks suffering with PTSD to get to these hearings, to testify, and so we need every person who can to testify in their place. And as I was saying before, unfortunately, we had to prove cannabis as medicine, period, much less that this is one of the good cases for it. And it's surprising, yeah. 11 senators in the Oregon State there voted to not allow these folks to use this thing for medicine. And case after case, Sunny, as you know, we've had to talk about folks suffering from PTSD, and if they're fortunate, as we say, they had pain from an injury related to their PTSD. There was nausea from medication for the PTSD and stuff. So now, with the passing of this bill, these folks won't have to go through that. It'll be just about how cannabis treats it. And hopefully it'll go through the House, but I expect the same kind of things with the legislature, with prohibitionists, I should say, who are going to try to torpedo this of all the no-brainer cannabis law reform bills. The other things that are in the legislature are going to be having difficulty too. There's a dispensary bill. There's a bill to add reciprocity to the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program or law. And there's also a legalization bill, Sunny, that was introduced. So, all these things one of those should get somebody, involved, active,
Well, you would think that, this is the thing. We have so much going on. All of the things that Perry just mentioned are important. And if they're not important to you, they're important to somebody you know. And, this is the thing we're doing the show about. Do you know that cannabis is an alternative medicine? Have you already known and you're just living in fear because you're afraid of who you work with and where you work and all the things that you have to lose by using cannabis as your medicine? And what we're trying to do is make sure everybody has the best information and allows them the options that they can choose. And like Perry said, for this PTSD, for the veterans, and it is not just veterans, it's a lot of people, but today we're talking a lot about these veterans and the testimony. If we can get testimony, please come by. We want to have people that can do things that can show what cannabis really does for these conditions that everybody knows, those pills that they're taking and all the side effects that they're going through and all the hospital stays and visits and doctors and all that crap they go through. It's terrible. And the reason that's happening is because nobody's been listening about cannabis. And today, the truth is out. We know it works. It's already into the house and all these things are going on. But we really need to have anybody, we need support. It's not just for me, it's not just for Perry, it's for all these people that went to war, that have been through the kind of war in their own lives that makes them have PTSD, or they do a service job for their community and they have PTSD. There's a lot of reasons behind PTSD. We need to help those that are all service people that are helping our community, Perry, and we need to do that especially because so many people know somebody that's in that position.
Yeah, it affects a large segment of society, broad scope, and a lot of folks that either served in some capacity, experiencing traumatic events, or those who helped service them. Folks, emergency service people, others who deal with trauma victims also end up traumatized, experiencing those things through them as well. Accidents, not just acts of war, but as you were saying, it's very important that the people who experience this or the folks who care about them speak to this issue, come out forth and contact their representative and really try to get to these hearings that's going to be held, try to get before this testimony before the committee here, because they need to hear about how cannabis saves, not just helps them with this PTSD, but saves them from all kinds of, circular events there. It's like in the Senate hearing, one of the senators suggested that these veterans grab a bottle of Jack Daniels and go out and get drunk instead of consuming cannabis for medicine. And he obviously didn't hear the testimony of these vets saying how, due to the law, vets were pushed into this alcohol as a medicine, and it was killing them. And they needed alternatives, the narcotics that the only things the VA was authorizing for them were just horrible for them. And every one of the veterans there was there speaking for almost a half dozen of his comrades who couldn't be there, who had either checked out, who were too traumatized, and so forth. And so, you need to be there for those folks. You need to try to get your testimony to them either in person or in writing. Folks can do it that way. Or, try to, if you can be there, certainly spread the word, get information out and letters to the editor, and get all of your friends and neighbors, everyone that might give a darn, to also make contact on this at least very important issue. And that's Senate Bill 281 for the numbers there.
Well, and that's the way.
Yeah, we have a caller.
Okay, no. On our website, they can see the testimonies of veterans.
Yes, thank you. If you go to the website, you can watch those testimonies also. The thing is this, we have a number of people that are dealing with this on a daily basis, and nobody's helping them, and the help they're getting is killing them, and nobody's saying nothing or doing anything. We, as cannabis patients, activists, as human beings, as the citizens of this community, are trying to make this happen. It's too easy. This is very good medicine. Everybody that's using it already knows, and the people that you know probably are using it, they just don't let you know they're using it. And the fear of anybody knowing that they might use cannabis as their medicine is so horrific, because they might lose their jobs, their pensions, their retirements, their whole world, their wife, they might lose their marriage, families. And it's so horrific that people don't understand. A lot of people are suffering this, and it's terrible, and I just want to help. Perry just wants to help. We're open Monday through Friday, 12 to 6, everybody's a patient. It's a nonprofit. It's all patients helping others. You know, this is what we do. Today was the best story. The lady with the cancer that came in and said, the worst thing is all the treatments that she's been through in this past year and how it's tore her up. But you know what? The cookies and the tincture are allowing her to be able to have a life and to be able to take some nourishment and to be able to get some rest and continue. Even though she's dealing with this, she's got a couple of things that are helping her. And you know, these are the things. If you don't know somebody with PTSD, you know somebody with cancer. And if you don't know somebody with PTSD or cancer, you know somebody with AIDS. You know somebody with glaucoma. You know somebody with Alzheimer's. You know somebody with seizures. These are things that are very important. Migraines, arthritis, the list goes on, fibromyalgia. All of these things are pain issues, nausea issues, and this is what we're trying to get across. While you was talking about this, all this stuff earlier, the people in the hospital tonight that are watching, Perry,
Right.
every night that I know the people watch this, it's a hope that they know that maybe somebody will help them get off all those pills that they're taking that are killing them, that they're taking pills for the side effects of the pills that they're taking for their conditions. And only people that are in the hospital and going through what I just spoke on know about that, Perry. Everybody else in our society or community thinks those people are pill poppers or pill pushers or whatever you want to call them. And that's not very nice, because if you really got to know the people, you'd understand it's not them. The doctors are actually giving them pills and pills and pills for the pills, and just trying to juggle the right cocktail so that they can treat the condition, whether it's the pain, the nauseas, the whatever. It's just terrible.
It's a similar pattern as these folks suffering with PTSD going through that we talked about earlier, the bill, Senate Bill 281. It's all talking about their condition, looking at these symptoms, and finding within there the proper paperwork and everything to get them qualified. But they've got, case after case, these folks are suffering through these things, and really medical cannabis should be available for these folks just because their doctor says so. Really should have a system more like California or Washington State, where the doctor can say, hey, this person should have cannabis for this condition, even though it's not on that main list. And maybe we'll get that way someday. Oh, I think we have a caller.
Yes,
Go ahead, caller. Caller.
we do have a second call too.
Okay, go ahead,
Good.
caller.
Hello, caller.
We're waiting on you, caller.
Can you try to
Okay.
hold the call?
Well, until the caller comes on, we'll keep talking about how cannabis is medicine and is working for folks with their, as we're saying, in the hospital, you're suffering through the, broad range of things, and you're tired of this, pattern of one thing for another and all, and cannabis, literally just breaks this pattern. Hello, we have a caller.
Go ahead, caller. Caller, how are you?
Call in, come free.
Well, sometimes we do have issues with the phone system, like we have with all the conditions. And this is the thing. Cannabis is something that'll work. And if you haven't tried it, what do you have to lose? Nothing is bad about it. Nothing will make you sick. That's the main thing. Hello.
Hello, caller. Is that you trying to get in?
No,
All right. Well, we're sorry for the technical difficulties. Folks out there watching, jot your questions down. Try to give us a call later on at our office, 503-363-4588, or you can visit us on the web at mercycenters.org. Of course, folks can always come down to the office.
Monday through Friday, 12 to 6. And everybody there is a volunteer. They're a patient. They know what's going on about the records.
Hey, what? Hey, caller, are you
Caller.
there?
I think we might have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, I just have a question about cannabis.
Sure.
And how does it help with the negative side effects of someone going through cancer treatment of the prescription medication?
Well, that's kind of one of the things we were just talking about. See, a lot of people don't realize how tough the treatments are. And when you don't eat and you don't get no sleep, it makes it very hard to deal with the treatments. But once you start getting some sleep and you are able to eat, you can deal with it.
Yeah, so the short of it is it helps with sleep and nausea issues.
Okay, how do I find out about various ways of using cannabis to relieve side effects or symptoms?
Well, our website is a good place to start, mercycenters.org. You can always come into the office and we can get some literature for you more, specific to the condition.
And then last question, what's going on with legislation as far as medical cannabis?
Well, it's a tough issue trying to resource folks with medical cannabis here in Oregon. Dispensaries aren't legal, so places are trying to do various methods to network folks, get medicine to them, and get funding back. Just be advised that any exchange for consideration isn't covered by OMA, so folks run that risk. And of course, there's no telling what you're getting too with some of the operations. That's the downside to folks doing it for money, I'm afraid.
Okay, I'll find that information on your website.
Yeah, you should. If you don't, please send us an email and we'll get you a link right to it. We have our email list link at the top of our every page there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Spread the word. Oh, that was a nice call.
Well, and those are the things that we get every day and that are so important to those people that are sick because they don't have the time or the knowledge or the energy or the money to run around and get all of this stuff and get the good information that they need to find out how are they going to be able to eat, how are they going to be able to sleep, how are they going to be able to deal with all these things that are really, if not life-ending, life-changing.
Certainly life-affecting,
Well,
the
yes,
quality of life.
And the people that are dealing with, it's not necessarily the cancer people or the AIDS people or the seizure people.
No, it's all those folks dealing with that pain and that nausea and all these things affecting your sleep patterns, your eating patterns, and your life patterns.
Well, migraines. Migraines are one that they are so bad sometimes. Migraines drive people into a bed and never out of their bed and under the covers and no sound, no light. No, and I mean, I had them for a while.
Can be as debilitating as the nausea and the other.
Well, because nobody understands it unless you have it. But if you can use some cannabis and try and at least allow yourself enough of it. We was talking about this last week. You can't use cannabis one time and expect it to work on everything that you took all these years to get wrong with you. You got to give it a long enough time, like a 7 to 10 day trial, like doctor does. When doctor tells you got to take this for 7 to 10 days to have a therapeutic level, we're all trying to make sure we give ourselves the best chance at the medication that we're trying to use. Cannabis is a medication, and if you're going to try to use it, give yourself 7 to 10 days. But you want to have the same kind of medicine or the same kind of oils or the same kind of food. You don't want to be jumping around with a whole bunch of different stuff because you don't really know what you're getting.
Well, there's also something to the application method, and this is where you engage the doctor because physicians only know or think they know about smoking. And there's much more to it than that, And when you make it the oils and apply it in that manner topically, not only are you getting it directly to it, but you're avoiding the toxicity. You don't get high. There's no buzz from that.
Well, and the lady that came in and told me about that they're trying to put a hip, they want to do a hip replacement. It's killing her legs and her knees. She used the oil. She's able to walk. She doesn't think that she's going to need it, no kind of anything. She thinks the oil is helping her enough that she'll be able to carry on with her life. And people, that's what they're looking for. Nobody's looking for to get high or be in some state that they can't function. Although there are people looking to get high, and there are looking people to get in no function. But
We
the
won't lie about that.
Yeah,
For
I
sure,
mean,
you
that's
know.
the truth. But the real thing is what we're talking about are people that are sick and dying and just
Absolutely.
drove to the end of their wits, that nobody has told them about cannabis, and eating a cookie, eating a pancake, rubbing some oil, taking some oil and rubbing it on your legs or your feet or your neck or your back, or even right through here in your face for your migraines and for those colds and stuff through your sinus cavities, so you will literally clear out your sinus cavities. And if you rub it on your chest, you'll notice your chest will open up and you'll start to breathe like taking a puff off of one of those puffers.
Or like rubbing Bengay in there. Yeah, it's fantastic the way that cannabis works, not just the pain and nausea issues, not just internal things, but in spasticity and in, well, just general swelling and pressures and the joint and skin conditions topically applied. It's just fantastic how it helps in those areas when done that way. And again, educating your doctor on this, takes off a world of issues there. So just that little simple bite of information. It's very easy to make, and just one of the ways that it can be prepared and applied. And folks can find out all of this information when they come down to the Mercy Center and pick up one of our pieces of literature like the Oregon Cannabis Connection.
Well, and that's a really good way to find out what's going on in the state of Oregon. The Cannabis Connection has all of the resources, and everybody else. It's got everybody that literally that they know of that's trying to get out there, so they have a resource to other patients and people. And these are the things that we're trying to do, is put it out there, so you know what, you don't just have this one person that's trying to tell you and give you and sell you everything, because there's so many people out there and they're all trying to do that. We really want to try and get the best information for those who need it.
And when is the best time for folks? Wednesday night, huh?
Well, Wednesday night is a chance when all the patients and growers get together, and that's the time that if you need a grower and if you'd like to find out maybe some different medicines that you haven't changed, that you haven't tried, that you haven't tried because the medicines that you've been using have not changed, and you never really get a chance to use other medicines, so that one medicine that you have used really may not do nothing no more, So by having a chance to use somebody's medicine that is actually growing it, and you can get it consistently, that might be something that you need as far as trying to get you a chance to heal yourself, whether it is the pain, whether it is the nausea, whether it is the spasms. These are things that we as patients have to literally go through and test ourselves, because they can say the recommended dose usage is, and the recommended you're going to get so much help is, but if you're going to rub some on, and you're going to smoke some, and you're going to eat some, and you know what, lately we've been making those drinks and you can drink it.
Right, the teas and the tinctures, not just the oils, the butters, which can be used in a variety of baking goods, but then vaporizing and more. And it's not just the THC, there's the cannabinoids, the cannabinols, there's other items called terpenes that we're just now finding out about. In Israel, they're developing a strain of THC which has little to no, a strain of cannabis that has little to no THC, but a lot of cannabinoids that are specifically tuned to deal with cancer and other critical debilitating conditions. So, it's obvious that this is possible to be done, and it really should be done here in America, where we're having the most experience with the most people. So.
Well, what you just said is very important. I don't know if you really paid attention to what he just said, but they are developing strains that help people with arthritises and cancers and glaucomas. These are things that they are specifically targeting. They've been doing it for years. There was a long process in all this happening, very scientific, lots of money backing this thing. And you know what? How come all the people that are watching tonight, whether you're in the hospital or whether you're at home, how come you guys didn't hear about this? How come Perry and I had to tell you on this little TV show that, you know, you guys, that's ridiculous. That's so huge. Everybody should have been talking about that. Look, this is what's going on.
Well, it's up to you guys to fix that. You need to spread the word, get the information out to everybody you know and then everybody you don't know. And to help you with that, come on down and grab a bundle of the Oregon Cannabis Connections. Not only the latest edition of it, but old copies have recipes and bunches of other valuable information there. So you definitely want to come on down to 1745 Capitol Street, Northeast, and it's down just behind the Graber Insurance Building, just past that little alleyway there. Open noon to 6 Monday through Friday. Of course, there's the Wednesday night meeting, which is always a good time to come by and not just pick up literature, but get your questions answered. You know, folks saying, how do I grow? Where do I find a grower? Where do I get the resources for it? Well, the Mercy Center, you know. Of course, you don't need just anything. You've got particular different needs depending on what you're doing.
Well, everybody lately here has had ideas of what they wanted, but no idea on how to get to that point. And it was too easy to have some of the people go and help them do all of those things and make that happen. The main thing is this: if you're not sure, just come and ask, because no questions are stupid. Everybody's been through what you've been through, having to get a doctor to sign, having to pay the fees, having to find a grower, having to pay for this, having to pay for that, having to get lights, having to, and back to our medicine and back to our quality of life and back to, we don't really have time, but when we have this little group of people that seem to be working really good with each other.
Well, I mean, what is experience worth? It's priceless, you know, how much is going to save you. And there's, we have folks that have gone through a lot of things, a lot of different things there at Mercy. That's what we're about. So that's why we encourage folks to come on down there and check us out by one means or another. And definitely call or email or otherwise communicate, you know, good, bad, or ugly. Did you find what you're looking for? You didn't find it? We can help you point to it, you know.
Well, and one thing that was brought to me the other day about membership fees and daily fees and use fees and door fees, and we don't have no fees.
None of that.
You know, we have a little jar in our office and we try and collect some monies to help pay for all the phones and computers and lights and everything. And you guys, it's real tough, and there is a number of people out there that could really use our help. How can you use it? Come on down. You know, that's the thing. We're all patients, trying to educate each other, not put up with nobody's bad information. Well, because there's a lot of it.
And we've all been through it, and that's why we come together and do what we do there at the Mercy Center. So if you've been through it, or if you're about to get with it and don't want to go through it, check us out first and foremost.
Well, the idea is a lot of people are suffering, so we need to help those that are suffering at this time, Perry.
All the time. We'll see you next time on Mercy TV Live. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Bye now.
You want to say anything before I turn it off, Glenn?
Yes, good night.
Good night. God bless you all, every single one of you.